Check me out now. Return of the smooth operator. Shotty on repeat. I say sleep later. This another favor. Consider me your neighbor. Lost a lot of fam in pursuit of the paper. She gon' catch the vapors when we slide by. The way I speak my mind, it's like I peak my prime, but I ain't close. I cruise through the night air. Fantasy a dream. Real world is a nightmare. Like Claire battling the brainless. Learn to live shameless. Talk about me alive, but claim that I'm nameless. You aimless. So I'ma style on them. They washed up. It's a rap. Throw the towel on them. Gaining miles on them. Otakus for the win. Tacos, it depend on the mood that I'm in. Like Finn when it's time for adventure. This some new blue. Get ready to enter my mind for a few. Come and take a ride with the crew. I'ma show you how to recoup days lost when you vibe with the blue. Come vibe with the blue. Yeah. About time to regroup. Fly, got my eyes on the view. Never hear lies, only truth. Realize why they vibe with the blue. 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 Vibe with the vibe with the sky. Wait, you know the rest. I'm blessed. I see you frontin' like you ain't impressed, but I still get requests. I'm playing Zelda on the GameCube. I quit spamming my music. Don't ever try forcing the links. That's a high rule. The wind waker, Mother Nature on my side too, controlling the elements. Go and check my avatar. I'm arrows ahead. Get the point. Moving forward. The battle scars accumulated over time are reminders of what I went through as a miner. But made me a grinder. The trees broke down for this loose leaf. If life's a game of death, I'm Bruce Lee. Ooh wee. Lose sleep on the regular, trying to get this word out. Then I crash Nebula. Wish I had a very odd parent, maybe two, but it's cool. Everybody pays dues. Now it's time to make moves. Granny didn't raise me to lose. Think I'm in the mood for a cruise. Wanna ride? Come and vibe with the blue. Come 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 vibe with the. Check this out, y'all. I'm back spazzing like the elderly. Worth of my cousin Beverly. Never swear away from the truth. Just ask Heather. Be weather, be tripping. Starting to control like our destiny. Always give you the best of me until the death of me. My weaponry is a paintbrush. Hush, don't tell my secret. They get a hold of it. If you leak it, get it. As usual. It's cool. Got you covered though, look. But let me get back to that cool-ish, loose-ish. Why they still lying? They don't do this bad at board games. Whole world clueless, selling they soul for Roof Chris. Who's this honored fella? Need a slice, extra mozzarella. Crew fly, let God propellers. Humanity born like they don't trust fun. Why you dodge to tell her? You don't know, but my odds are better. Life's a gamble, depending on who holding the cards. You can start living at large or it's bon voyage. Charge it to the game. Me and you ain't the same. I'm thinking bigger pictures. Why you still shrinking the frame? Ever blink in the rain? It helps when your eyes dry. Mob with the bright minds. Think you funny, wise guy? Midnight marauder with a new tribe. Tired of the fake. Come and vibe with the blue sky. Come vibe with the blue sky. Why do you try? We get them high. Take them high. What I do? Come vibe with the blue. Yeah. Come vibe with the blue. Pass what up? Vibe with the.
Motherfucker, are you out of your damn mind?
I have seen everything that has ever happened, ever will happen, ever could happen, and yet, what the hell is this?
Are you ready?
Word to wise, grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer to lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple lies. You can't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy. Man, dream on, yeah. Dream on, dream weaver.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It is your boy Ernie, the Blerd without fear, and today I am joined by special guest and friend of the channel, Nandor Fox Shaffer, who is the proprietor of Foxhole Comics, and we actually had on very recently to talk about the Fabled Offering. We have actually had Nandor on in the past to talk about, I believe it was for the first issue.
It was, issue 1.
So for the first issue of Manchild, and it seems like time has flown. It seems like time has flown, but and in some respects it kind of has. But we're here today. We're actually going to be talking. We're actually, we're I don't want to say closing the loop because it makes it sound like it's over. It's actually not over, but we're circling back around because now we're going to be talking about Manchild number 3 is on the way, and we did the Kickstarter for it has literally just launched today as well, and Nandor's here to kind of talk to us about it. If you're new to Manchild, we're gonna get you up to speed so you know what's what. That's
right. Yeah.
You know what time it is.
No excuses. No excuses anymore.
No excuses. and not only that, if you're someone who has been around long enough to remember the conversations that we've had in the past, not just about the Fabled Offering, but also about the first issue of Manchild, then you might already know what time it is, but you might need a refresher. You may need a refresher. You never know. I always need a refresher. So, so that is what we are here to do today. We're going to be talking about the Kickstarter for Manchild number 1 through 3. And, I guess, real quick, just to make sure everyone knows, there's a link down in the description. If you click that link, it will take you to the Kickstarter. So if anything we say, anything we're talking about sounds like it would be of interest, I'm just saying, you can't see my hands, but down there, it's there.
It's there. We need this to happen. We need this, and I swear, for those of you who've been watching Blerd Without Fear for so long, like Ernie's such a an advocate for superhero storytelling and a positive force in this community, and that's what Manchild is. And I think there's a lot of cross-pollination and kind of layers of what we're trying to do in the community and what this book is. And so this book was made for your viewers and for fans of superheroes, and who are who love talking about an obscure issue that came out that no one else has read, but we know it. We know it. We love it, and we know exactly what you're talking about, and we're speaking your language, and that's what Manchild is. It's my way of kind of giving back to the community and talking your language and talking to people who love the big two and love seeing men in tights and all of that. So it's gonna be a good time.
It kind of reminds me because what I remember that a ways back, you're talking about men in tights. I remember a ways back that I was trying to explain the concept of why I like wrestling. And it was kind of what it was kind of one of the key points. They were like, oh man, it's just men in tights. And I was like, it's men in tights with drama and gymnastics. And that's kind of how I feel about like when people ask me like why I still love like superhero comics. Like, oh man, superhero comics, isn't it just a bunch of men in tights beating each other up? I was like, yeah, but there's drama. And there's capes and wings and like bright colors. I was like, there's so much to love in a superhero comic, and especially one of the things that I really dug about what you're doing with this too is just the fact that you can tell it comes from a place of love. If any of y'all were lucky enough to get in on Manchild number 1 or 2 previously, then you probably already know what I'm talking about. But like, you can tell it's a comic that comes from a place of love. It has a type of reverence for the genre that you don't really get to see expressed a lot of the time. So I guess so let's I guess let's refresh everyone's memory banks. Like I said, everybody needs that you got to restart the computer every now and again. But can you get us up to speed, or I guess a primer, if you will, for Manchild, like the elevator pitch?
Yes, yeah, of course. So, Manchild is made for comic book fans. It's made for people who go to the comic book store every Wednesday. This issue 3, is actually called Wednesday Warrior, so you can tell how deep we're getting into it. And it's the 3rd issue, which Wednesday's the 3rd day in the week, so we're even going even more meta with it. But Manchild tells 2 stories simultaneously, and you're reading this alternating narrative between the Monarch Crier and his own like superhero world, and Rufus Boston and the real world. And the mystery behind the series is how these 2 worlds and these 2 characters collide. What's the connective thread there? And if you love Silver Age superhero stories, but you also don't want to necessarily forgo or abandon the real world and the real drama and the mature world, and that contrast between the 2 of the innocence and maturity and fantasy and reality. That's what this book is about, and that's what this story is. So you have all of the excitement and all of the action and adventure of a superhero book that is at the same time contrasted with the everyday life of a superhero nerd who is Rufus, and of a comic book nerd. And so in our own way, we're interweaving this tale of commenting on fandom and masculinity, and the idea of having an ideal and not being able to meet that, and a commentary on what it's like to be a comic book fan in the 21st century. So if any of that sounds interesting, if any of that sounds like something that you want to be a part of, and you want to kind of see my take on it, my spin on it, that's what Manchild is. So you're getting 2 in 1 basically, and that's what's so exciting about the story, is that you keep seeing how reality kind of informs fantasy, and fantasy informs reality, and the way that we look at the world. And that's why it's called Manchild, because Manchild is about embracing that inner kid, while also coming to realize that maybe there are some things about it that we don't recognize in ourselves as we grow older. And how do we stay a fan and keep being a fan, and being proud, having the pride of being a superhero fan, at the same time as we grow older. And so those are all things that Rufus has to come to grips with, and the story is commenting on. So that was a very long elevator pitch. I wouldn't recommend anyone do that, but there's so much. It's always so difficult to break down your story in the most minimal way, and I always feel like that's the great thing about editors, and the great thing about publishers and things like that, is they're able to kind of package it in a way that makes a lot more sense. But in any case, it's a story for the Wednesday Warrior. It's a story for people who love superheroes and who want to be a part of that conversation.
I like it. Well, and it's like I said, that love letter to to comics, even down to like the kind of the look in the vibe of it, like, and I guess so I can kind of show you guys a little bit better than I can tell you, just to kind of give you that idea of what it is that let's see, I want to make sure I actually set this up correctly before I talk it up. I don't want to talk it up and then it'd be like, oh man, I messed it up. I didn't do it right. No, but no, I think here, let's move this over. We're gonna move this over just a touch. Y'all are kind of seeing a little bit how the sausage is made a little bit here on the Blerd Without Fear channel. Here, we're gonna just kind of move it. Okay, there you go. None of you didn't really need to see any of that. There we go. Here, this is actually just one. This is actually just one of the covers that
this is cover A.
With. Yes. Yeah. See, I know what I appreciate. Because you used the parlance of the industry that I appreciate. You use the parlance of cover A. Thank you. That is thank you for that. Which, by the way, beautiful cover. I love it because it also kind of gives that vibe of like classic comics.
Yeah,
and you got we have our hero literally like staring down like being stared down actually by the villains, by the people that he's gonna have to deal with. But I think one of the things I really love about it is some of the we got some of these these alternate covers as well that you had shown me that I was just like, oh wow, like you're going all out for this.
Yeah, there's a big one too, when we get to it that I'm very excited to talk about. But real quick with this cover A, you're right, like something that I wanted to do that Jay and I wanted to do with this cover in particular was evoke even more so than the previous two covers, evoke that sense of like you could throw this back in time in the 60s or 70s and put this on the spinner rack and it would fit right in. It would look exactly like, oh hey, there's a new issue of Manchild, like this has that same aesthetic and that feel. And I think the stark yellow background, if you look at a lot of old Silver Age comics, they always kind of had one color background, or and then they had a lot of busyness, with either word bubbles or thought balloons, or and that's something that we don't really get in covers that much anymore, is where you see a lot of captions and things like that. And while some comics still do that, if you look at an older 60s or 70s Marvel comic, there's like 5 different captions, like the plight of Captain America, or is this the end, and all that bravado, which is always really exciting to pick up and see. And but yeah, I love this cover so much because we really get to see Jay, the artist for the book, did the cover as well, and we get to see him take a stab at the Sadistic Six, these new villains, and they're introduced in this issue, and that's what really this cover was meant to do, was be like, okay guys, like you've seen the Monarch Crier, what he looks like, you've read the first 2 issues or you've seen him, and now we're introducing his rogues gallery, we're expanding his rogues gallery, and it's time to put these guys on display here. So yeah, I really love this cover.
And I think what actually kind of grabbed me a little bit too, just because I think you got some really good variants on here.
Yeah,
there's just like because I'm one of those guys. Yeah, I'll admit it. I'm one of those guys. I like variant covers. I don't like all of them, but I like them. There are some variant covers that could have stayed home. But there are definitely some variant covers that I do have a preference for over others. But one of the ones I guess I want to save the big one for last. But
okay.
I saw there was one here that is a Pablo Romero cover. And let's see, let's shoot this over here. Bam, there we go. There's that one, which I thought I was like, dude, this is really good. This is good. I was like, you're cooking.
Awesome.
You're cooking here.
Awesome.
You're cooking here.
Yeah. Well, and what's so cool about this cover, and it's something that we really haven't done on any of the previous issues, was we have Rufus interacting with one of the villains. And you know, it's the first time we really see that play out on a cover, and having, you know, this normal dude, this regular everyday Wednesday warrior guy, you know, be held at the mercy of one of Monarch Cryer's villains. And you see the Monarch butterfly wings, you know, burning behind her, and there's even some like slashes through the wings themselves, you know, from her sword, so you can kind of see the embers and things like that smoking around. And yeah, it's such a great composition. And this was an idea that I had, that I took to Pablo. I was like, and who's someone I've been wanting to work with for a while, and I was like, what do you think about this? And you know, it all really came together really well. But yeah, I absolutely love it. I love the 3D effect of it. You know, it's like you're like it. You know, Rufus is right at the floor, at the foot of the page, and you know, you see him just being like, oh god, this isn't gonna go over very well. There's a woman with a flaming sword right in my face. You know, like this isn't gonna go over well.
and she's got a stiletto buried in his solar plexus. It's like oh man, like, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of felt it in my own chest a little bit. It was like, oh man.
Yeah, that would hurt. That
sad
would not
days.
be very comfortable.
It's sad days. And we also let's see, we got another one that I really liked here too, which is also kind of kind of once again, you know, showcasing you know, our villains in this particular case. Let's see, let's pull up, bam, right there. Love this one. This is the this is the Nathan Lorenzana one, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Then which
so
looks great.
yeah, this is digitally painted by Nathan Lorenzana, and I really wanted to you know, with these new characters being you know, premiering and debuting in this issue, I really wanted to like feature Highness Helen and the Crane, because I love their designs so much. And I had seen some of his artwork on some Titan covers for like Conan, or a Vampirella cover he did for Dynamite. And I was like, man, like I gotta try to work with this guy or do something with him, because he does the female form so well. And I had these new characters that I'm like, I really want these to stand out, and to make people kind of stop in their tracks and be like, whoa, like, who are these girls? You know,
wait a minute.
Yeah. Like, these are some bad people, you know, like they're up to no good. And you know, I love the background of like the sky, and it almost is like at a sunset, you know, kind of vibe to it. And the Crane, the character, you know, is in the Crane pose, which was really cool. That was something that Nathan had suggested. So, but yeah, this one really, every time I look at it, I find like a new detail or something else about it that I just absolutely love. It's really gorgeous. It's really like easy on the eyes and pleasant to look at. And he's such a great artist. He's like an art teacher, and he does a lot of great stuff. So he's a cool guy.
Well, I was gonna say, man, like so far, like because of all, like, pretty, I'll just go ahead and say right now, I mean, all the ones you sent me look fantastic. So yeah, huge surprise. You know, I say it with all the sarcasm in the world. They look great. We knew they were gonna look great. That's not the question here. It's not the question. Yeah, we knew, and yeah, it should have gone without saying. But what I really I want to, let me see. I want to see if I can actually get this. I want to give this all the proper respect that it deserves, because I'm a for as much as I have criticized in the past for things of this nature, just because normally I'd have to buy like several issues of something to get it all in one. I can get it all.
That's
in one.
right. Yeah,
I can get it all in one. So
I'm not gonna do you dirty like that. You know, like we gotta, like, I understand what it's like to be a collector. You know, and it's like, wait a second, I don't want to buy 3 other issues of like a series or what, or of the same comic. You know,
right?
What I mean?
Just to get the one picture. Yeah, I was like, that's kind of predatory, man. I don't like that. But what I did enjoy here, and I'm gonna swing this over here because I wanna show this in all its glory. Here, let's transition over here, and this is Ben Morse.
Yes,
this is the
Ben Morse.
Yeah, this is the gatefold, the gatefold cover. And it looks, like I said, looks fantastic. I like I said, this is the type of stuff that, like, when I was a kid, going in the shop, every week, this was the type of stuff that, like, you had me. Like, you pretty much had me. Like, I was like, ooh, look at folds. Like, I'd be like, oh man, it's awesome. You can see everything. It's like whole. Like, normally the picture's only this big, but now it's like this. It's like, yeah, that's the type of shit I would eat that shit. I look, leave me alone, y'all. Leave me alone. I liked nice things, and I deserve nice things. So yeah. I like this setup here. I like the just because it's got all the characters. It almost. Like, what's the best way to describe it? Okay, so some of you may or may not remember. This is actually one of my favorite covers of all time. It's not even like the most like epic looking comic cover that I'd ever read as a kid or seen as a kid, but it's one of those that it lives rent free in my head. It's the Jim Lee X-Men #1.
Yes,
volume
exactly.
But it's
exactly.
But instead of it being like the good guys running at the bad guy, and the bad guy being closer in the perspective than the rest of than the heroes, it's like kind of like flipped, where it's like we got the bad guys in more of a closer perspective, going towards the hero who is further back in perspective. Like, and I love stuff like that. Like it's little stuff like that. I like that sort of thing.
Well, no, hey, you totally you hit the nail on the head, because when I was working with Ben Morse on this cover, because I initially was thinking about doing that god awful thing of maybe doing like separate covers for the rest of the issues, because I was thinking, okay, we're on issue 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, that's 4 more covers. What if we did like a connecting cover? But and that was something that Ben and I had kind of tossed around, and then we agreed, and he really liked, he loves the Jim Lee X-Men #1 cover, and that was what we kept going back to, and I was like, you know what, we should do that. We should do kind of not necessarily an homage to it, but we should do something in that same vein and give people that collectability excitement of like having something that you can't really find that much anymore. Gatefold covers aren't really a thing as much anymore at all.
They're very uncommon. It used to be, I mean, and it's not to say they were like everywhere back in the day, but like you saw them way more often than you didn't.
I feel like foil is now kind of the new thing. Like there's a lot more foil covers than there used to be. In the 90s, foil and metal covers or whatever, they would always do all those different kind of gimmicks and things. But
I may or may not have owned an Age of Apocalypse Alpha and Omega in foil. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. I may have owned. Leave me alone. Leave me alone, okay?
Hey, it's shiny. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
It's it's glistening, and if you put it in the right light, you get that reflective. It's just it's pretty. It's like a diamond. It's like we don't maybe most of us don't like jewelry or whatever, but like we got that foil cover. Like we may not wear gold chains or whatever, but like we got the foil, right?
Look,
so
I'll admit, I used to get the stupid holographic covers. Okay, leave me alone. I used to get them. Okay, I thought it was cool. I didn't know any better. I didn't know any. They're still cool. They're still cool.
They're still cool. Yeah. Hey, if I could have done some like 3D hollow like cover for this, that just would have been like ultra 90s. You know what I mean?
Dude.
Like,
can you even do that anymore? Does anyone even do that? Does anyone do that anymore?
I don't know. I know like I've seen some, some like glow in the dark covers. I've seen some like hollow foil stuff, but it's rare and it's also very pricey, so yeah. But with this cover, I was like, we're just gonna go, for it. We're gonna release the entire thing, have it be a gatefold cover. And there's actually not many printers that I know of that do gatefold covers like at all. So that's something that I had to kind of search out, and I had to ask my particular printer, like, can you guys achieve this? Is this even achievable anymore?
Right.
Is this possible to do? And they were like, yeah, we can do it. We can do it. But I remember putting a call out there on social media being like, hey, does anyone do gatefold covers? Like, does anyone who makes comics and works on their own comics, like, have they ever done that before? And to be really, completely honest, I don't know if I've ever seen an indie comic do a gatefold cover, at least recently. I mean, in the last few years, I try to, stay aware of what all my friends are making and what other people in the community are doing, but it's not really something that I see.
Yeah.
So
I don't think I have. I don't think I have. I honestly don't think I have.
So yeah, we're really kind of doing something new for this, and kind of I'm not going to say risky, but we're treading new ground, and we're trying to do something here that can really give people that excitement. I mean, there's nothing like getting your package in the mail of the comic you ordered, and then like, can you imagine picking this up and then folding it out and seeing it? It's like that's that feeling is what I want to give people. And Ben is so good. Like shout out to him and his work on We Are Scarlet Twilight and August Purgatory Underground. He makes some of the best indie comics, and he does it all. He writes it, draws it, colors it, letters it. He's an amazing creator. Dude. And I've been wanting to work with him on Manchild for a while to do like a cover or something, and I thought, okay, if we're gonna do this, we need to go big,
right?
We need to go bold here, do something, crazy. So
big or go home. That's how you got to do it, man. You got to come out the gate swinging, man. You got to.
Yeah.
So I love it.
Yeah.
I guess. So. There's So this is the one that like I was just like, okay. I was like, all right, you know what? Like, I don't want to make it sound like I never thought you were serious for. I knew you were serious.
Yeah.
But when I saw this, you told me about it. I believed you. But it was still one of those things. I was just like, man, this is wild. I was like, it actually brought a little bit of a tear to my eye just because I was like, man, he did it. But for those that don't know what I'm talking about, there's another cover that the Nandor sent me that, like I said, I just like, this is like, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. If I pulled a move like this, you all would not be able to tell me shit. Okay, you would never be able to tell me anything. I would be like, at that point, I would say I am above reproach. I am above criticism. No one is allowed to criticize me ever again because I am somebody. And now I can put you in that category because you got a variant cover from one of the goats. One of the goats, and here I'm gonna pull this up because once again, this is we're here to show off. But here, I'm gonna bring this in just a little bit. But right here, Steve Epting. Steve freaking Epting. Yes, like it's like, yeah, like, look, I'm not trying to tell y'all how to live your life, but I'm just gonna be honest with you all. You can't tell me anything once I have Steve Epting on the cover, on the variant cover. If I have Steve Epting on the variant cover, I don't give a fuck what you think. I'm like, because at the end of the day, I'm going to be sitting back in my chair like, I got Steve Epting on the cover, so I don't know what y'all talking about. Yeah. I don't know what y'all talking about. Y'all can hate all you want, but I got Steve Epting on the cover. For those who know, Steve Epting, the co-creator of the Winter Soldier as we know the Winter Soldier today, responsible for some of the. And here, I'll just go ahead because I don't care. I'm gonna say it. I am a huge fan. Some of you may or may not know, I'm a huge fan. Huge fan of this run. Yes. Those don't know the Ed. I live and die by the Ed Brubaker Captain America. It is what it is. You don't. It don't get much better. It's not to say there aren't better Captain America stories. I'm not saying that there aren't. I'm just saying that after this, man, it's few and far between. But no, Steve Epting with a beautiful cover, mind you. Like just looking at it, I'm just like, man.
Pops. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, that's the cover. I'm. That's the cover. I'm probably gonna get. I think that's. Yeah.
It's it's one of those things where like as a fan and as a creator, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I want to give people options, right. There might be some people who, don't know Steve Epting or aren't familiar with him or whatever. And there are options there, but I feel like a lot of us fans and a lot of us comic book people, people who live and breathe and die, by this stuff, we know who Steve Epting is, right?
Yes.
And you're looking at this campaign and you're looking at which covers you want, and it's like Steve Epting. I mean, like what? Like no offense to any of the other covers and no offense to any of the other artists, right? But it's like, how can I say no to this? It would be like an affront to Steve Epting if you didn't pick his cover, right? And so here we are now, But yeah, I mean, I cannot tell you how much this means to me and how incredible it is to be here after the last few years of making comics and trying to slowly but surely climb the ladder in a way that people will be like, hey, like this guy is serious, right? And this guy wants to make comics and this guy loves comics, and he's not just out there and doing his own thing, but he's trying to show the world that, hey, I am here. I do exist. This is what I'm made of, and this is what we can do. And working with Steve Epting solidified that for me. It put that to bed for me, where I was like, if anything were to happen to me, if I never came out with another book ever again, which hopefully not, that won't be the case, but if this was it, I will remain undefeated, and that's where I am with it. And I'm right there with you. Like, I mean, I love a lot of different Captain America stories, but Steve Epting's work and Ed Brubaker's work on Captain America redefined the character for the 21st century, for our generation, and looking at Steve Rogers and Bucky Barnes and the Winter Soldier. I mean, the MCU wouldn't be the MCU without it, And
nope.
Yeah. And so there's so much there's so much foundational work that they did for the character, and also very respectful of Captain America's history and all the characters that Captain America, and was involved with. And I mean, Bucky was dead for so long, right?
Oh God, yeah.
It's like for how many years? Like 50 years or something, or
give
more?
or take.
And and then you bring him back, but that by bringing him back, you create a greater tragedy for the character than what was prior. You double down on the tragedy of Bucky Barnes, and that was something that Ed Brubaker wanted to do. And you look at Epting's work and what's so great about him and what's so great about his work is that there's comic book storytelling, there's sequential storytelling in his DNA, but he makes it palatable for us today, for people today who are reading comics, because you might pick up a Silver Age book and it's just not, it doesn't speak to you, like a modern day comic would.
Right.
But Epting's work bridges that gap, and he's able to bridge the classic with the modern. And that's what this entire story and this entire series is about. And so, I knew from the get-go that his art style, his work would just be, perfect for this kind of story. And I really feel like that's what he saw in it too when I approached him with it, because, I'm like, here, I sent him the PDFs and I pitched the book to him and the cover idea and, how we're introducing these new characters and everything. And I think he saw that this fits who he is and his legacy and what he's trying to do, and the kinds of comic book stories that he's involved with. And if it wasn't just Captain America with Ed Brubaker, it was working with Jonathan Hickman on Fantastic Four, with the death of Johnny Storm and that entire arc, and then working with Hickman on the New Avengers run that he did for that first arc there with Avengers. I mean, it's just, the guy has a legacy, and it's everything he touches turns to gold. And he's always been a part of so many amazing runs and so many amazing books that have influenced me. And, that I look back on my childhood reading comics and I go, yeah, I don't know if I would have gotten into Captain America if it wasn't for Steve Epting. Even if the story was great, but the art style, his work is so like magnetic, and it, he's so great at that espionage noir, but grounded superhero stories. And so, I mean, it's an honor and a privilege, to work with him and to have this opportunity. And the cover is just amazing. I mean, it's like I look at it, I'm just like, oh my gosh,
I want to pull it back up. I want to pull it back up.
like I want this. I mean, I'm gonna relive the moment, when we get the physical copies, and we look at it and unboxing it and all that stuff. I mean, it's gonna be insane. When I saw his Epting signature that he puts on all of his covers, and he did that and he finished it and he sent it to me, I was just like, you gotta be joking. Like, is this the real deal? Is this it?
Like,
and we're here, and it's it's a dream come true. It's a dream come true.
I love it. I freaking love it. And I gotta say too, to make it more clear, in case anyone was curious, and like I said, we're going to take a look. We're gonna take a look at the Kickstarter page, and we're also like, if anyone has questions about anything, feel more than free to ask. I know we've been kind of just going on, but I mean, just that's what happens when we talk to each other.
Out.
Yeah. It's typically what happens.
Yeah.
In case anyone was wondering.
Yeah, when you put nerds together in a room, I mean, this is going to be a 6-hour conversation about like what kind of brushes Steve is using,
Right.
or what like, wait a second, like how did he get that? How did he get that gradient or that texture? And it's just we get a little obsessive about it.
And you know what? It's a thing. It's a thing. I don't fight it. I don't fight it. But no, man, we've got I've got the site pulled up here, and I will go ahead and just say right now, I think literally just having started, and I think off to a pretty good start. Just coming like, 'cause I think literally what this went live like literally like I think an hour or hour and a half before we went live. So I love to see this type of energy. And matter of fact, I'm not doing it now because I'm not showing you all now because I don't want you seeing my credit card information. Y'all mind your business, please. Mind your business. Don't watch my pockets. Watch your own pockets. But no, I'm putting in for mine right now. Y'all don't worry about that. I'm getting my Steve Epting. Okay, I'm getting my Steve Epting. Just stay out of it. Stay out of it. Okay. So now that I've done that, we can go take a peek at the we can go take a peek at the Kickstarter.
Heck yeah, man.
And then there we go. Okay. Now my credit card information is no longer on the screen. That was my chief concern. Yes. That was my chief concern. I just wanted to make sure I was like, no, we can't have that on the screen. But no, in all seriousness, this is the Kickstarter right here. Like I said, we are in already. I think just in the last couple of minutes, I've even seen we got a couple more backers in here. Like I said, I think we're asking. I say we as if it's me. The Nandor is only asking for $4,500. To get this thing signed, sealed, and delivered. And there are multiple tiers, that you can get in. Like I said, you saw us. If you just showed up, you didn't see this, but we're gonna run through it all. You've got the for one, actually let's right here, bam, look at that. Well, look, I just want to keep the Steve Epting cover just right there. But but no, in all seriousness, we've got like, you can get the PDF version of it. Like I said, if you if you're like, and I'll admit to myself, I'm not a big physical owner unless it's unless some of you see I have like a lot of like trades and omnibus collections and things like that. That's the only time I really get deep into physical. But like especially for stuff where it's like where it's single issue, a lot of the times, unless it's a very specific cover, case in point, Steve Epting cover, I'm usually gonna get the PDF just because that's just me. That's me. I don't have room. I don't have room, but
no one has room. Yeah,
right. Anymore. It's like, however, you can also, if you want to get in on the physical copy, you can get the cover A, which is Mazar.
Yeah, Mazar.
Yeah. So you can get that cover. And by the way, this is 28 pages of salvation. Just right here. Just putting that out there. You can get that. And you can get the physical copy. Like I said, I think you get physical copy and includes digital rewards. So I mean, like I say, you're getting a little taste of both right there. And just 10 bones, and I'm here for it. You can also get the PDF bundle. Like I said, we talked about earlier. You might be people who you've never seen or heard of this comic before, and you're like, man, you know what? I can get in on this, but I don't know any. I haven't read the first one. That's okay. Nandor's got you, because
we'll take care of you. We'll take care of you.
There's a 1 through 3.
We'll feed that fire. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we like right there, and that's PDF right there. There's some PDFs. You get 15 bones, and you can pick up all 3 of them. You can pick up all 3 of them in PDF format. Like I said, you get the cover B we talked about earlier with Pablo Romero. Right there. Also with a digital version right there. Awesome. We've also got the Nathan Lorenzana cover C we talked about earlier here, which I'm like, hey, dude, I'm here for it. Also, real quick, something I should also point out. A lot of these are limited quantity, so
that's right.
You don't want to wait.
Yeah.
No way, we're not. This isn't like okay, I'll just wait. Okay, don't do the look. I'm gonna pull this away just a second. I want you guys to see my face. By the way, what's up, CE What's up, Screwface Capone? I see Gabriel the Dark Knight up in here and R. Callie up in here. I'll see He-Man 32 up in here. But what I want to say, just real quick, this is I don't want you to make my mistakes, because you know what I do. This is what I do with Kickstarter. As largely because I used to have a Kickstarter problem. I'm a recovering Kickstarter addict. I only really count board games in this regard, but I haven't backed a board game on Kickstarter in 2 years. It's been a year. Sorry, I'm giving myself more time. I'm 1 year sober on board games on Kickstarter. We're not going to talk about comics. That said, don't do the thing I do where I'll be like, you know what? Let me just click save, or I'll set a date, remind myself to come back. Because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to see that reminder and be like, huh? I have no memory of this place. And then I'm going to move on with my day. So don't do that. Don't do that, because that's a really fast way to miss out on some stuff. So yeah, make sure here I'm gonna bring it back. But I just want to make sure you guys know, because I don't want y'all to get caught up. I'm gonna zoom this in just a little bit too, because I want y'all to see a little.
Yeah, well, and that's a really good point, because like with the Steve Epting cover, you only get it at a discount in the first 48 hours. So if you want the Steve Epting cover and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna get that, I'm gonna get it, like eventually, but no, like, you need to get it in the first 48 hours, because it'll save you some bones, save you some dough. So there you go.
Like I said, hey, these are things to, like I said, you can see right here, like, this is, I just want everyone to know this is a thing. It ain't gonna be here forever.
Nah,
so if you see that cover and you want that Steve Epting cover, I
know you made it your wallpaper already, right? Guys. Like it's time to own up, Like this is be a part of history. And I don't same with the gatefold cover. I really don't. Let's go back. I really don't know if Steve Epting has ever done like a Kickstarter book or a cover for like a Kickstarter. Like, I mean, I follow him really closely, because I'm a huge fan, and I was trying to think, okay, have I ever seen him do anything like this before?
I don't know.
Yeah, like I'm don't quote me on it, but at the same time, as a huge Steve Epting fan, and I pride myself in following his work anywhere it goes, and I collect it, and I collect every cover that he has out there. I haven't seen that happen. So, this could be a one in a lifetime type thing for people, where it's like, hey, if you want, an indie book that, again, we're not going to be printing thousands of these. We're not even going to be printing hundreds of these. This is going to be limited quantity. So,
right.
If you're a collector out there and you're like, oh, I have every Steve Epting, comic out there, it's like, no, you don't, so it's time.
Also, what I would love to run into Steve Epting at a con and be able to pull something out that maybe he wouldn't expect. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
Like, unrelated to Steve Epting, I was actually sitting next to Donnie Cates at a convention. And nice. One of the things he was talking about when I was chatting with him was the things that people bring him to sign, and how I think he said literally no one until that convention had brought something to him that that was of this magnitude, and it was a comic where he actually had art I think it was, I can't remember if it was on the cover or on the inside of the book. Like it was like not say like he did like a bunch of panels, like it was like there was like a piece that was in there that he did. And he was like, dude, it was so cool. He's like, someone brought it to me. He was just like, dude, that's so crazy because no one knows that I don't really expect a lot of people to know that, you know, I drew this for that comic because he's primarily known for writing. I can only think of like one other thing where I've seen him do like art for something that was I think it was like a cover for King in Black, but yeah, like that's the thing. Like when you can bring something to someone that they don't like I can tell you right now, Steve Epting has probably shared. He has probably signed like well beyond his weight.
Yeah.
In Return of the Winter Soldier, Trial of the Captain America. Like he has probably signed so many Captain America books. He's probably sick of seeing them. But like when you could, I would love to just be able to like hey, you sign this Manchild #3, and he would just be like, oh man, dude, yeah, let's go. I'd be like, that's the guy right there. Yeah. Like, I'm just saying. I'm just putting that out there. Sub to was it Twyman, Primo El Mundo, Wilbur Robinson out here? Let's go. I guess another thing too, and here, no, we're gonna leave that there. We're gonna leave that there. I just want to keep scrolling down. Let's see. Yeah, there's lots of reward tiers. Yeah, unless you're a retailer, this one doesn't really apply to you. But I mean, hey, more power to you.
That's right.
But like a lot of these, like, you could get in on so many of these. And like I said, not anything that I personally feel is like breaking the bank. Earlier I showed that there was a PDF version of the first 2 issues of Manchild bundle with the third. There's a physical version of that as well. You can get in on for like $30, which I think is I think that's reasonable considering we're talking books that are not the traditional 18 to 22 page length that other comics typically are. And like I said, there's just lots of really also I didn't really get to show this one. I actually really like this one right here. This pinup right here. I really like that pinup, which Jay was cooking on this one. I like it a lot. Just because it's got that classic kind of like Silver Age, kind of Silver Age vibe with like kind of a taste of something like the God, what was that? I was actually reading some of this the other day. I was going back and reading some of the oh my God, like kind of in and around the time of like Giant Size Avengers books, which kind of still about roughly that same time, or not too long after that time frame. But and I was like, I kind of missed that vibe, that vibe of comics from back then. Just I was like, they don't really make them like that anymore. Which I know is a thing people say probably way too much of, but it is no less true. They do not make them like they used to. It is a fact. It is a flash fact, as a matter of fact. It's
not newsprint anymore.
No, God, man. Oh man, if there, you know what? If it's a look, they're man. If I could make things one way, I would love to have some of those not everything, because not everything was created equal, but there were a lot of comics back from that time frame. They're like, man, they should still be running today. Should still be running today. But I know. I guess like I said, we've been yammering for a while here, and we've talked a good bit about the book and some of the stuff going on behind it. But I want to open it up. But also, by the way, shout out Elite X1 up in here. Love it. Talk about that 60s 70s art style. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Like a lot of people don't appreciate it the way they should. Like, man, there's something special about that. There's something special about that. I have a love for it. I like it just because and it's not to say the art game, because obviously we got legends out here right now just putting up all kinds of crazy stuff. But the game has changed a lot since then. But like, it doesn't mean that those older styles don't still hold up, and I love it.
Yeah.
But I guess like if any like I'm gonna open the floor up, just in case, just for a few minutes.
Of course, yeah.
And if there's anyone that has like a question for Nandor about Manchild or the Kickstarter just overall, or if anyone has questions, because I think I love doing stuff like this because I think it's a valuable opportunity to especially because I know there's a lot of you that are in you who are part of the audience who are creatives yourself. You have aspirations of being a creative, like maybe you want to make your own comics, maybe you might have questions about the process. There's a lot of I know it may not seem like it just from the brief introduction I did earlier, but Nandor's been in the game a while, and Nandor knows a good bit about what it takes to bring your pieces, your work, your art, your writing, whatever it is that you do. I think that he has a unique perspective that might help someone out. So if there are any questions, please just throw them in the chat. And we'll just kind of shoot the shit a little bit to kind of give you guys some time if you need to think up something. But I guess until I see some questions pop in, I do want to say I want to go back. I want to go back to back here to the Kickstarter page. And just because like I said, one of the things just for me as a question, because I think I probably asked this before, but I'm ask it again just because I always like to I like to pretend no one else was a privy to that conversation.
Yeah.
But
clarity. Yeah.
What is it that when you sit down to bring a project to life, what is your, I guess, like, what are your best practices? What are your best practices when it comes to like when you're writing a story, or you're conceiving a story, and you're trying to determine whether or not this is the direction you want to go, because you have a lot of different books that more than Manchild, more than the Fabled Offering, like you've done, to my understanding, at least 4 or 5 different
this is
stories.
Number 7. This is number 7.
So I undersold you. I undersold you. So you've done multiple different stories. So like, I guess better than best practice. Scratch that. How do you find the time? Like, how do you find the time? Because you have a lot of irons in the fire. And I know that's the thing people ask me a lot. How do you find time to do this? How do you find time to do that? I'm asking you, how do you find time to be creative?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of one of those like evergreen questions that I think a lot of creators have to deal with, and they have to kind of contend with their own life on a daily basis. Like every day I'm asking myself, have I written today? When can I find time to write? When can I find time to create? And to be quite honest, it's honestly, sometimes I will procrastinate and keep myself from writing, because honestly it'll like I will guilt trip myself in one sense, because I'll be like, man, it's been so long, like I really need to do this. But a lot of the time, if you wait around long enough, your story will be like, you need to work on this. Like it'll build up so much energy.
It'll start writing itself.
Yeah. That basically you get to a point where you're like, you know what? It's time. Like I can feel it's time to write this story. And But that doesn't just happen overnight, of course. I mean, you're thinking about certain ideas or certain themes, or a particular scene, that you have in
Yes.
your mind about this character, having a conversation, or this particular event happening to this character, and you're asking yourself those questions on a daily basis regarding, okay, what would be their motivation after that event happened? What would bring them to that event? What kind of backstory do they have? You just keep asking yourself all these questions. And I always bring a notebook with me everywhere I go, even to work, even to my day job. I bring my
Mhm.
notebook and I keep it nearby, because there might be an idea that I have, or if I'm on my lunch break or on break or whatever, I will open it up and I'll just write down some words, some key words, some like ideas that I have, that I'm
Mhm.
like, there's something here. I haven't unlocked it yet, but I feel like it needs to be. And it's like locating those locks and
Mhm.
locating those stories that feel like they have a lot of potential. And a lot of the time, uh, these stories are like they're trying to get me. I almost feel like it's like an outside force trying to get me to work on it. Like I can't say no anymore. It's like no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to write it. I don't want to sit down, and work on this. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, stop it. You need to, like, this is something that needs to be worked out and wrestled with. And so stories are like wrestling matches, and stories
Mhm.
are always, you're asking yourself these questions all the time. So like that will ruminate and germinate for you over time, if you're like, hey, I have this particular idea about this story. You don't have to have everything figured out. You don't have
Right.
to have everything, everything about the world or about the characters or anything like that. There'll be this kernel, this like one little diamond in the rough where you're like, okay, that's like the anchor, or that's something that I want to get to, if it's a scene, or if it's a particular character that you want to flesh out. And then I I basically expand upon that and kind of
Mhm.
see what kind of world surrounds that. What does that world look like where an event like that or a character like that lives in?
Mhm.
And but a lot of the time I'm a binge writer. So what I mean by that is, if I don't have a lot of time to write during the week, or if I'm tired, or if I'm just lazy about it, um I will, at some point, if it's either the weekend or it's in the evenings, I will set aside time, and I will make sure that, hey, I will somewhat give myself a deadline, and I'll be like, I need this story to be written by this month or by
Mhm.
this time, because I'm tired of thinking about it. Like, I'm tired of like questioning it. I'm tired, like I'm kind of tired of it. And I'm like, I need to get this out so that I can put it to rest, and that I can say I tried, and
Mhm.
that I gave it my best shot. And so I'll go through these periods where I will write the entire story, and I'll have that there, and I'll let it sit for a while, and I'll go back to it, and I'll edit it, and kind of, make sure things with the dialogue and things look right and feel right. And a lot of the time I'll go back and I'll be like, wow, that's pretty good. Like, I like that, like that was a good idea. But it, I kind of feel like I'm in a storm for a while
Mhm.
of that writing process, and being in that binge, and where like nothing really else excites me, or nothing really else has the same amount of motivation to me than, no, I want to work on the script tonight. I want to work on
Mhm.
this thing, because um it's the primary mover for like how I want to live my life and what I want to do with my life and things like that. So when I remind myself, hey, this is what you set out to do, you need to finish what you started, and basically have those conversations with yourself to make you spend that time and find that time, And I think after a while, you will realize that's the most, maybe not fun is the right word. That's the most fulfilling experience that you've had in a while, was working out that story or working out that idea. And it's an exercise. You're really exercising your creativity in a way that I think just really will, by the time you finish that chapter or that issue, it's ever more motivating to keep going, because you're like, I've done this before, I can do it again, you know, or I've finished this particular scene. What happens next? You know, you almost become a fan of your own work in that sense, because you want to know what the next chapter is or what the next thing is. And sometimes that happens organically while you're working on the story, or you might have an outline beforehand, but it's all of that time in between those major plot points or those major moments where you really start to find the story and you start to find what excites you about the characters and all of that. So honestly, you know, when I started, it was more about being more disciplined and setting aside time. But as I've made more stories and gotten older, it's become much more like I don't want to do anything else. I can't really do anything else. And it becomes the thing I'm looking forward to, you know, that more than watching a film or you know, reading a comic even. And sometimes comics will do it for me, where I'm reading a comic and I'm not writing, and I'm reading it and I'm like, damn, this was good. Like, I need to write, you know, like I need to like this really got to me, you know, or it might not be a good comic and you're like, I can do better than that. Like let me, you know, get back to my notebook and let me work this out and be like, you know, this is how it should have been, you know, how it should have played out or whatever. But so, you know, you kind of have to learn how to train yourself to make it a part of your everyday as much as possible, even if it's 15 minutes or if it's half an hour or an hour out of your day. And when you hit that, you can stop. Like, it's okay to stop and to be like, you know what? I got that time out of the way. I tried, you know, maybe you only wrote one line or one word or whatever, but you're one line and one word closer to where you want to be. And that's what's really important.
No, I 100% agree. Like, some of the things you were talking about, like with you know, like finding inspiration sometimes.
Yeah.
It happens to me all the time. Like, I'll be reading a comic or watching a TV show, watching a movie, or sometimes I'm just, you know, farting around doing nothing, maybe just looking at my phone. But like, you know, something will click and I'll be like, and this actually happened to me just a couple of days ago. I was watching a TV show and there was a scene from that TV show that I thought was really cool. And I was like, man, I would love to write something like this. So in my head, I just kind of started, like, not immediately, but like just in my head, I was just thinking out, like, okay, character enters, other characters already sitting at the bar. Okay, this character sits down. All right, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, the dialogue, everything starts cranking out, and it's all in my head. And I mean, it's like it's playing out rapid fire in my head. Every line of dialogue, every word, every panel change, whatever. And then I'm like, I need to write this down. And then I'd like go write it down. And yeah, sometimes I kind of do this. I have a similar thing as you, like, where I'll binge. Where like I'll probably go a few days, not write a single word, but like it's not to say like I'm not still thinking about it. Like I'm like the juices are like it's almost like it's happening in the background, whether I realize it or not. The story is writing itself, and then one day I'll just sit down and I'll be honest. I say this all the time. Yeah, we had this running gag on the Saturday streams, the Blerd Cave, which by the way live every Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. But Carter and I always joke about how like, oh, well, where do we do most of our reading? It's like in the bathroom. I'm like, I'll open up like Global Comics. I'll open up the Global Comics app, or I actually have certain books that I, if I'm like reading, certain stuff. Like I'm like, okay, this is my bathroom book. And and sometimes I write. and so sometimes I'm just like, okay, and then like I'll literally bang out like several pages of something, or an entire scene, or even just like a plot outline for a story. So I think but to take it to because we do actually have some questions here. Awesome. I'm gonna pull them up on the screen so you'll be able to see them. Let's see here. Okay, first one. This is from the Elite X1. Says, question, I've been fighting with myself trying to do my own comic. For years, I've been writing stuff and making placeholder art for big events. I have a beginning and an end plotted, but I think, and here I'm going to switch to the second part, says, I think I'm slow dragging on producing this comic. Should I just put something out, even if it's just a small starter comic, to get the public some content? What is your opinion on that situation?
Yeah, so I think, look, I never want to tell someone to put something out that they're not proud of or that they're not happy with, because you want to get behind what you're promoting, and you want to be proud of it, and you want to be able to say, hey, this is something that I've worked on. This is something I put my time and effort and energy into, and I want to share this with the world. I want to share this with you. But I'm so protective of my work that I never want to show it if I'm not ready,
right.
if it doesn't feel ready to me. And so, but at the same time, if you kind of have the proclivity to always feel that way or perpetually feel like it's not ready, you may never pull the trigger. And that's something that is a problem, because it'll keep you from ever doing it. It's kind of like when people are always like, oh, I'm going to do this thing. They keep talking about doing this thing. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Oh yeah, I'm still working on it. I'm still working on it. And it's like, wait, what about
myself doing that too?
yeah. And so I think there is nothing wrong with putting out a short comic,
right.
And whether it be 10 to 12 pages, like an ash can, you can do an ash can, and people do that all the time. And
I've seen a lot lately.
Yeah. So, and usually those are just like 10 to 12 pages. They could even be a little shorter, and, you can go to your local print shop and you can get those printed, and, you can kind of save yourself some extra dough, or, some printers have like a 25 minimum, quantity minimum. So you could just print 25 of them, and you could get those, and you could be like, just pass them out, give them to people. Mail them to people who you admire, things like that. I mean, people love getting comics in the mail. I mean, I'm, like, even if I don't know who you are, it's so exciting to pick up a comic and be like, whoa, what's this?
Right.
So you could make someone's day that way. But I think that if you, Elite X1, if you have the beginning and the end of the story, which are two of the most important parts, you're doing
Very
something
much so.
right. Yeah, you need to know where you end up, and you want to have a really strong beginning. And so maybe you haven't figured out everything about the middle, and that's okay. But you could put out those first few pages as an ash can, your beginning that you have in mind, that you're like, this is set in stone, this is good, I like this. And put it out there, see what people think of it, see if they start asking you questions about your story and about what you can do, and that may even help you figure out the middle and where you've been dragging, because you're like, oh, this is what they're interested in, this is what they want to know more about. And once you do that, and you have that out there, you may just kill two birds with one stone that way, because one, you've put out your book, you've put out your work, even if it is just a few pages, it's still, you're putting yourself out there, and you're getting people to know that you make comics, and that's really exciting. So you've accomplished that, and you should be encouraged by that. And you can be like, hey, I did this, I've done it. I do make comics. And then the second thing is, like I said, putting it out there may help you finish your story, because you're eventually going to get that person that is like, I want more of this, like, where is it? And they're going to start bothering you about it. And then you're going to feel bad. And then you're going to go through that guilt trip where you're like, dang it, like I should really, figure this out. But I think it's okay to it's okay to let things drag a little bit. It's okay to let things boil, and get to that point where, you're ready to serve your meal or whatever, whatever analogy you want to use. But like, I think that at a certain point, you do have to give yourself a deadline, and you have to go, whether this is the best thing I've ever done or the worst thing I've ever done, finishing something will only help you make more of it. And that's what you really want to do. And, if you want to save your story, save your ending, save all that stuff, like I said, you can put out the first chapter or do an ash can, and that way you kind of hit the balance. You've compromised a little bit, but you've also, accomplished something that you can be proud of. So I would put something out, and I would make
even if it's a teaser.
Yeah, even if it's a teaser, the best 5 pages you can ever do, and just put that out there, and you've done it. And then maybe when you do the full issue or the full graphic novel or whatever it is that you're trying to create, if you want to redo those a little bit, if you're not happy with them as much, you can do that. You have the option to do that. And therefore you've given people an even more like collectible, because this is something that they're never going to get in a different format, because it's like your first try at it, your first shot at it. And people like that stuff. People really like to be a part of the process, and they want to see you grow, and they want to see you get better. So, it finished, not perfect. And I kind of live by that, because I'm always trying to edit my things. I mean, I'll look at my previous issues and my previous books, and I'll be like, oh man, like I should have done this. Yeah, I should have cut that line. There's too much text here. There's too much going on here. I should have maybe switched this around or something. But making it only made me want to make the next one, and it only encouraged me. And it showed me how much better I've gotten, how much more I'm thinking about writing. And so, and how much better I've gotten at the craft, and looking back and seeing my own growth. And people have seen that too. The Fabled Offering, people have told me this is my best work yet. And I'm like, oh wow, that's awesome. But also, I hope you didn't hate my other stuff. I hope that stuff wasn't bad. No, but
it was good. It was good. It's just that Fabled Offering was just. Yeah. I was just like, wow. I was like, okay, all right, yeah, let's go. Well, I'll also kind of piggyback something you said, because I know Elite X1 and I are we always joke that we're a similar we're like a hive mind. We think a lot of the same shit. But one thing I will say, just something I've had to teach myself, is that there is no such thing as perfect. You will never have the perfect thing.
Yeah.
Because perfect is you can get close, but even striving to get close to perfection can slow you down. I will say that you will be surprised some of the things that you could make that because you're going to be your own worst critic. You're always going to see the flaws because you made it. But someone else could look at what you did and be like, dude, this is amazing. This is the greatest. Like you could literally be sitting on a story that someone else might pick up and go, this is the greatest thing I've ever read.
Yeah.
And to you only see the parts that you did wrong or the parts that you don't like as much. And someone else is going to look at that and say, dude, this is incredible. This is the best thing ever. I might maybe with a little bit too much hyperbole on that, but just saying you never know. And I think that, you do yourself a disservice by over critiquing yourself. It's not to say that you can't, but like you also have to know you have to know when it's just your inner doubt talking, not your it's not the critical part of your brain that is actually legitimately critiquing your own work. It's the part of you that is trying to doubt you. It's your self-doubt talking, not your critical mind talking.
That's a great point. I think a lot of people get those confused, and they think that, I'm just very hard on myself and critiquing it. It's like, no, it's actually you doubt your own ability to do it, and to do it well. And you're no longer thinking about the work itself. You're just thinking about how people see you, how people are going to look at you rather than the work. And if you look at the work and you're like, this is good and I'm proud of it and I like it, someone else is going to like it.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
And I think we got a couple more here. Got a couple more. See, I love how this works out. Let's see. We got Wilbur Robinson here. This one, it says, let's say you want to create a comic yet. Art isn't your strong suit. Where do you find artists to help you realize the dream? And I think Nandor will probably have a really good answer for this one.
Yeah. So I mean, look, there's a lot of artists out there who want to draw your comic. There's a lot of them out there. You will be surprised at how many people are, trying to make comics and trying to get people to see their art and find a collaborator. And in the same way that you're looking for someone, there's a lot of hungry artists out there. And so some of the best places to go to find artists are actually on Kickstarter, because there's a lot of, all of the comics on there are indie comics. And so if you see a book that you're like, that looks really good, like, who is this artist? Look at it and find that artist and see if you can find them. More often than not, you will find their social media handle, or you'll look them up and you'll see that they're out there. And I swear, I mean, if you find, even if you just DM them, like a cold DM, it totally will lead to great things. I've done this multiple times, and I've emailed people as well, where I find their email if they have it, but if they don't, you just got to be like, hey, you think artists are going to be mad when they get a message that say, hey, I love your art, I'd like to work with, like they're going to be like, wait a second, like, this is really cool, like, how'd you find me, like how did this happen? And so I would look at what's indie comics on Kickstarter, but also there's an amazing couple of indie comics artist groups on Facebook, and there's thousands and thousands of people that are sharing their art on a daily basis. And so you can just take some time out of your day and kind of just scroll through those groups and be like, what are people making? What's kind of going on there? And like I said, more often than not, these artists are ready and they're ready to go, and they want to work with you on something. So I used to browse DeviantArt a lot, but that really isn't something that I do as much anymore. But and Twitter, you can find a lot of artists. If you look up a hashtag like indie comics or something like that, you'll find a lot of different art through there too. So there's a lot of different kind of avenues that I've taken. I found Jay, the artist for Manchild, on an old art forum that no longer exists anymore.
Oh wow!
And it was called, I think, Digital Webbing or something like that. And he because I mean, some artists, I will say, and this isn't a knock on Jay or whatever, but like some artists, maybe there's some hidden gems out there of people who aren't sharing their work enough, or maybe putting themselves out there, or who don't know how to market themselves as well. And but if you look hard enough, you can find those people.
Mhm.
And you can see that you can bring out the potential in them. You'd be like, hey, I see something in you that maybe hasn't been tapped yet, or maybe is something that your style just fits the kind of images that I have in my head for the story, and that makes them excited. I mean, you're
Yes.
really giving them something that they're encouraged by, and that you can like be a part of their own artistic journey in that way. And so yeah, man, there's a lot of different places you can go to.
I like this right here. CE Rose says, perfect is the enemy of good. This is a quote by Voltaire. Yeah, that's like I said, that's it in a nutshell, honestly.
Yeah.
And not so much a question, but something that Screwface Capone brought up, and this is something I think kind of also mirrors some stuff we were talking about in regards to Elite X1's question. It says, I'm the same way when it comes to doing videos. I'm stuck fine tuning everything, but sometimes I got to tell myself, just go ahead and do something and see what happens. I have ideas for stuff, but I end up overthinking it, and someone else will comes out with something similar. And that's the thing. I look, I don't want to make this about. I don't want to make this about me, but I'm going to for just a brief moment, just so I can show you that you are not alone in that thought process. And this is something I think Nandor, you've even I think we were talking about the Fabled Offering. You've talked about this as well. Sometimes you just have to do the thing. You have to like slap yourself. Or if you have people in your life who are very supportive of you, that you can go to and talk to about stuff. Sometimes you need that friend that will slap the shit out of you and tell you to just do the thing. Just do it, because for me, I remember when I had to learn this harsh lesson, and it's that, and these are actually words from famed rapper Nas, not to be confused with Lil Nas X, different Nas. But Nas said in a song, and I quote, "No idea is original. There's nothing new under the sun. It's never what you do, but how it's done." And that is like, if there was a house motto, if this was like Game of Thrones, and my castle, my kingdom, my family, if we had a motto, that would probably be one of the top 5 up for consideration, because that is something I believe in so much. That, look, some of you probably remember comics you've read as a kid, stories, movies, cartoons, whatever, how there was always another one out there just like it.
Yeah.
Like, I always like to use this example, the Power Rangers craze. When Power Rangers came out, everybody and their grandma tried to make something very similar. It's how we got VR Troopers. It's how we got the Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. It's how it's how we got Big Bad Beetleborgs. It's how we got the tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills that no one should remember, but somehow I do. Look, it doesn't matter. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, every idea that you have in your head, I guarantee you, and I'm not saying this to discourage anybody, because this is something I had to face myself. I guarantee you, someone in the world somewhere is thinking at the exact same time the same thing you're thinking. The trick is, who's gonna pull the trigger first?
Yeah.
Except it's not. The real trick is, which one of you is going to do it better? Because I'm going to tell you right now, if someone called, like which I talked about this a little bit Saturday about my own personal project, and I can't tell you how many times, and this is just me telling this to myself, not other people, but me saying, oh man, it's so easy for people to compare what I'm doing to like something like Blade. but it's really not. But like I'm thinking it, so I'm just assuming other people are going to think it, but other people might see it and see something else, and they'll probably see the same thing I see. But you know what? It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, your story that you're telling is more important than what you might think you're copying or what you perceive people are going to see it as. Because I can tell you right now, when I described what I was creating to the person who is my artist now, Quinn McGowan, he said, you know what? He said, because at the end of it, I finished off saying, yeah, I know it probably sounds a lot like Blade. Yeah. He was like, actually, no. He said, actually sounds more like Supernatural, but without there being two brothers, just one guy. And I was like, okay. I was like, okay, you know what? Fears abated. So that get that fear, get that nagging at the back of your head, get it, throw it out. Throw it out. You don't need it. It's not going to service you. You need it, like I said, I know how some of us are in here. We need to let that shit go. Like you make what you need to make. Fuck that other shit.
Yeah.
Fuck all that other shit.
Look, if you know, you're so right, because like what you're going to offer, what you're going to make and those characters and those experiences that you're bringing to your characters, no one else has had those. You know, you're special, right? You know, like what you've experienced and how you think about things. Some people, it's like a writing prompt, right? Like you give like a million people different writing prompts, they're probably most likely gonna all have a different variation or a different kind of, you know, way of maybe tackling it. I'm sure some of them would be really similar, but at the same time, it's gonna be unique to your perspective and what you want to do and how you want, you know, it might not even be the ideas within the story, but how you tell the story. It might be the narrative structure of the story. It might be how many characters are in your story. I mean, there's so many different things and different flavors that you can kind of mix in that make it uniquely you. And something that I remember Ed Brubaker in an interview said was he never really understood why so many people would be so protective of their ideas, because they'd be so afraid that someone would steal it. And he'd just be like, he said something like, bro, like one, you think your idea is that unique that no one else has ever thought of it before. You know, but two, they're not going to do it as well as you are. You know, I mean, that's what you have to remember. You have to be like, okay, look, there might be someone out there who has somewhat the same idea, or maybe they have a character with the same name, whatever. It doesn't matter. What you're bringing to the table is uniquely your own, and no one else sees the world the way that you do in all of its complexity of what you can do with the story. So, and that should be motivating to you. You should be like, man, like, look, like I have this, this insight that I can bring to this that no one else can. So,
we got one last question, and then we'll answer this, and then you know, we'll give one last what's the best way to put it, pitch, and then we'll get up out of here. This question is from Zero Zaku 1. Here we go. Says, question, what are some classes that people could take on writing comics? Your book seems awesome. Go ahead.
Oh man. So you know, there's a lot of great resources out there. Particularly I believe it's called the master class of writing that you can take out there, where you'll have people like Alan Moore and others that are part of this class. And there's a lot of different options when it comes to, you know, that, and even like, you know, screenwriting classes, you know, which aren't necessarily the same as a comic book script, but you can definitely glean a lot of great information if you think more cinematically, if you're more kind of like, if you're more of a movie watcher than a comic reader, that can still inform the kind of comics that you're trying to tell. Even though, you know, comics are their own unique medium, I definitely don't think that you need to make a comic like a movie, but you have the potential to think more visually that way. That's the connective tissue when it comes to that. But there's also some amazing books that I recommend that people check out. And I mean, the top one, I mean, the holy trinity of books is the Scott McCloud books of understanding comics, how to make comics, and reinventing comics. And you cannot go wrong. Those books will blow your mind and open your mind to all the different ways that you can tell the kind of stories that you want to tell. And those are textbooks. I mean, people use those books in teaching comic book courses. So if you don't have a way to go to a how to write comics class or anything like that, or a writer's workshop, you know, even if you were going to those classes, those are the books that they would be looking at. So I would definitely recommend that. Brian Michael Bendis also has, I think it's called How to Write Pictures with Words or something like that. Yeah,
that's a good one. It's a good one too.
Yeah, that's a great one. And then
I'll also sneak in just to add in. I don't know if you can find this book physically anymore because I think it's out of print, but you can buy it digitally. I do recommend DC Comics Guide to Writing Comics by Neil Adams.
Yes.
It is like, because, and I only say it because it's a book that is written as though Neil Adams is, it's not written like a book. It's written like Neil Adams is just talking to someone at a convention, like just shooting the shit. It's like, it's a very casually written book. It's informal as all get out, but he gives a lot of his personal opinions about how to write comics, what, like, the different ways you can write them, and it's also great in the sense that he tells you that there's no wrong way to write what you want to write, just that there's better ways than others. There are things you can do that will save yourself so much more, anxiety and time and all that stuff. And I think I guess two of the biggest grains of advice that I would give people who are thinking about writing comics or who are working on a script or whatever is, one, think about what page you're on. Think about the page count, because comics are all about page count. You want to know page turns when you're going to turn the page of like a reveal, of something exciting happening, wanting to keep the reader involved in turning the page. That's something that digital comics do not offer. And that's something that is lost in the digital medium that I think we kind of take for granted when we read comics, because, if we're scrolling through something, a reveal is not as exciting to me as when you've turned the page. You flip the page,
yeah. There's something magical about that.
That's something I kind of got reminded of when I was initially doing my comic and I was drawing it myself. I was doing it in Clip Studio, and there's a way that you can when you're drawing the comic out, you can look at a digital print preview. And that was how I would remind myself, like, okay, it would remind me to put myself back in the mindset of, okay, how does this look when the page is turned? Is this the best? Am I building tension to that moment? How is it going to look as I'm turning the page? So I 100% agree with you on that. That is actually, if there's any, for as much as I love digital comics, it's the one thing about them.
It is. It really is. That's
I think we can't. It's that one thing where I'll be like, oh man, if you could replicate it, I would love it. But like it's difficult. It's difficult to replicate, especially depending on the platform of a digital comic. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, sometimes they can kind of get away with it if you're in a guided view or whatever.
Yeah, like panel to panel. Yeah.
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 But
That's a little different. Yeah.
Yeah. At the same time, I will say, comics are a very intimate experience. I mean, you're in the zone with it, and when you're turning that page, and you're in the moment, there's something about it that is just really magical. But with that, I think the page turn is so important. And the second thing is be wary of how many words are on each page or each panel. You really have to, comics are a visual medium, and you have to think about, okay, I want to put all this information on this page, but look, it's not going to fit. Okay. And you have to realize that. Yes. And either you're going to have to add a page, or you're going to have to trim some stuff down. And that's okay if you have to trim some stuff down, because that will start making you think more visually than, trying to, write your prose novel in a comic. You have to be a little bit more careful when it comes to those types of things. But yeah.
This is something I think is also really invaluable, and I actually discovered this. You mentioned Brian Michael Bendis earlier. I remember I found like an old tweet of his where he was talking about like a list of different like comic scripts that were by like major publishers. Like you could like, and it was like just an archive of a bunch of the different scripts. But also one of the things I love about buying omnibus and some of those hardcover trades and deluxe trades and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is a lot of times they have the scripts for, if not all of the issues, they at least have them for at least one of them. And one of my favorite ones is from the first saga hardcover, because in it, Brian K. Vaughan tells you his entire, actually, both he and Fiona Staples tell you the entire comic process.
Wow.
Like down,
that's so cool.
To, I think he says, what was it, step one? They said, like, basically, it says step one, they talk about the arc. They figure out, like, okay, this is the arc. This is everything that's going to happen in this issue. Like, as far as, like, just a little, maybe one sentence, if that, like maybe like no more than one, like no more than two sentences, what all is going to happen in the book. Then they come up with like a cover. Then they say, okay, then we make a 22. He says he makes a 22 line outline, and basically it's everything he wants to happen on each page. Like, what is the main idea of each page of the comic? And then he writes a script. And then, like, when you get into the actual, that part of it, he shows you, and this is where I think it's actually very important. He just shows you the script, like exactly what it looked like when he handed it to Fiona. And when you read that script, I feel like you get a really strong idea for how to write. But I will definitely say, I can't show the cover because there's a titty on the cover. But but just know that, if you, especially if you are somebody who reads a lot of comics, you probably have one, like, not saying that specific book, but you probably have a trade that has that. And I actually do. If you ever see, like, sometimes they'll have them in stores, but I usually see them more often digitally. The director's cuts of certain comics, where they'll usually have a script for that issue in the back. I cannot express enough. Seeing how different writers do their scripts and kind of like finding the things I like about each one and kind of making my own style. That was something that took me a while to figure out, but I will definitely say, it's an invaluable tool. It's an invaluable tool.
That's honestly how I started writing. Was I had a graphic novel, and I looked at the script in the back of it. It was Jonathan Hickman's Nightly News, like the 5th anniversary edition, and he has his script for the first issue there, and that's how I based off my very first script for Seasons. That's what I based off the layout, of how things were indented, how things were kind of separated, how he was able to pace it out for himself. And from then on, I looked at other people's scripts as I was writing, and as I, came out with a couple books, I would revisit other scripts and things like that. and you start to find what works for you, you know, and what are some and depending on your artist too. I mean, there are some artists who prefer more description and there are some artists who don't. So that's also a huge factor. But as long as you have an idea of the kind of script and the kind of artist that you're working with, you know, you'll be smooth sailing, and if you have that direction.
I 100% agree. Excuse me, 100% agree. I guess, you know, before we jump out of here, I just want to kind of make one last pass. Excuse me, during back to the Kickstarter, because as I said before, actually let me take a swig of some water. My God. I was parched apparently, and I just didn't realize it. But yeah, we are, like I said, we're at the beginning. We're at the beginning of this, so and like I said, we're already off to what I think is a pretty good start. And we, like I said, I got the link is actually not only in the description, it is actually in a pinned comment at the top of the chat.
Awesome.
If you want to, and like I said, and it will stay there. So, if you stumble upon this video and you're like, hey, I wonder what's going on here. You have 29 more days to make that decision, but don't wait too long. Don't wait too long, because as I said before, there are different, tiers, different, that wasn't the right one. There's different tiers. There's different, there's different, I guess ways you can go about.
Look, you can be drawn in the comic. Do you want to be immortalized in the comic? You can be in the man-child story. So that's always that's always one. And with the first 2 issues, I've had multiple people do that. And so it's something that we love doing, and we really love giving that option to people. Or you can get an original sketch of a man-child character, or of a favorite character of yours, from Marvel or DC or whatever. Like Jay will draw that character for you. So
dude, you can get all 5. Oh man, that's dangerous. That one's dangerous. I don't know.
That was dangerous.
Yeah. Like I was looking at it, I was like, because honestly, I was like, all these covers are kind of lit. So I don't know. But yeah, like this right here, drawn to the story, like you were saying before. Like there's lots of different ways you can back this.
Yeah,
so many different levels. Make sure you pull the trigger on those. A lot of those variant covers, because like I just right here, you got the Steve Epting cover right there. I'm just saying Steve Epting. I'm gonna say it over and over again, but
2 words.
It's like that, like Steve Epting right here, man. But no, these, they are limited quantity, so don't wait too long, because like I said, as this starts picking up some steam, as Kickstarters are wont to do. It's gonna be something that you might come back one day and it ain't there. It ain't there anymore.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
You miss the you miss the taxi. You miss the boat on that one. But definitely, like I said, there's so many different tiers, so many different ways. That you can back this, and like I said, and like I said, we got 29 days left, so. Like I said, it's plenty of time. I know, like, because for me, my luck with a lot of Kickstarters is just like, oh man, I'm kind of broke right now, but man, hopefully, like, I'll get paid by the time that before the Kickstarter's over. It'll be over, right? I hope so. But like, that's one of those. That used to always be the bane of my existence. Is like, some of all the best Kickstarters would come out like when I was like, oh.
I know.
Oh, I gotta wait. But no.
Yeah.
Or I just miss them entirely. That might actually be worse. But yeah, this is, like I said, this is gonna be fantastic. Like I said, just if you think it's gonna be up your alley, please, by all means, either use that link in the description or in the pinned chat message right there on the chat. It'll be there. There's plenty of ways. I think I even posted the link to it. If you follow me on Threads. I have it on there in the post for this. I will also say, speaking of social media, Nandor, would you like to tell the good people where they might be able to find you on social media if they want to learn more about what's going on with the Kickstarter, like update? Well, if you back Kickstarter, you'll get all the updates, but still, you might want to get, you might not check Kickstarter regularly. You might be on Instagram or Twitter or Threads, Facebook, wherever. Let the good people know where they can find you.
Oh yeah. So I highly encourage everyone to definitely. I think the premier way to see what I'm up to and to see what I'm doing is definitely follow me on X or X Twitter. You'll find me at Nandor Fox. You'll find me there. And but also the second best way would definitely be my newsletter. So I have a newsletter that I recommend everyone go check out. It's foxholecomics.substack.com. And I'm always kind of updating people on what I'm working on. And you'll get the most meaningful information, the most important information, rather than me, just talking about random nerd stuff on social media. But if you want to know what I think about certain movies or certain comics or whatever, definitely follow me. But if you're kind of wanting a more formal way to get a hold of, see what I'm working on and announcements and things like that, my newsletter is a place to go. And rarely, I've been trying to do a little bit better at this, but I do have a YouTube channel called Foxhole Comics that you can subscribe to. And I will usually do a live stream talking about my books or doing an unboxing that I just did for like the Fabled Offering a few weeks ago. So you can find me on there. But yeah, anyway, I'm pretty much on all the main social media platforms. So if you just look up my name, you'll probably find me there. And I'm happy to answer any questions. If anyone has any more questions about comics or how to make comics, you can always message me or email me or ping me any way you want to. And I'd be happy to answer any questions and help you, make what you want to create. And, if you have any feedback or you have a script and you want some eyes on it or whatever, I'm always happy to do that. So that's where you can kind of get a hold of me the best.
Well, I actually just went back and I edited in the socials and links that you mentioned. So those are in there. They're in the description now. They may not be there right this second. You might have to like refresh the stream or catch the VOD. They'll be there. But I want to say thank you again, Nandor, for sitting and chatting with me about this, about Manchild, talking about the project, and giving your insights and answering questions.
Of course. Yeah.
So I appreciate it, and I don't want to make it sound like it's the last time. It's not the last time we'll see you. We'll see you back again. I'm positive of that. That's not a question. So, but I do always want to say thank you for your time, your energy, sitting and having this conversation, and of course I look forward to all the next stuff that you got coming out. And also in the link, there should be you'll find all the stuff, all the pertinent information about Nandor's other projects. Whether it's seasons or it is obviously we're already talking about Manchild, but the Fabled Offering, so on and so forth. All that stuff is in there, so go check it out. And I guess until next time, make sure you guys are out there keeping it plus ultra. And we'll see. I'll see y'all again actually Thursday for Nerds of Culture.
That's right. So, all right. Looking forward to it, man. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, everyone, it was a good time. Like I said, make sure on the way out. Yeah, Black Phoenix, you got to go back, man. Yeah. Roll that scrubber back a little bit and get back to the beginning. You don't want to miss any of this. But make sure, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, tap that notification bell, hit that like button when you're on, before you get out of here. And also, if you think that there's anyone out there that would enjoy what we're talking about, especially the Kickstarter for Manchild number 3, make sure you share, hit that share button, share it on Facebook, share it on Reddit, share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram or Threads or wherever.
TikTok.
TikTok. all the places that you hang out on social media, share them everywhere. We don't care. Like, look, don't let this be your dirty little secret, okay?
Yeah.
But until next time, we're out of here. Peace.
Peace, guys.